I have been posting and talking and reading and thinking and musing a lot about love lately. And a lot of it isn't really romantic love per se. It's just love, no matter how it's being expressed. And that's been coming to me very strongly lately. So the other day, I was reading this book, and I'm reading a couple books at a time. I always get books to help me with my clients, and this one is called Calling in the One by Catherine Woodward Thomas. That's her name. And I love this book. This book is amazing. It's all about getting yourself ready to receive a romantic partner, a soulmate or life partner, whatever you want to call them, a husband, a wife, whatever. So, one of the things that I noticed as I was reading it the other day was something that she said about love. And I wanted to read it to you guys and tell you why it hit me so hard and see what you guys think in the comment section. So let me do the introduction, and then we're going to talk about what Catherine said about love. I'm Queen Osset Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to somebody else who might like it too. Please leave us a positive comment in the comment section. And thank you to all of you who always leave such intelligent, positive, inspiring comments. And a lot of you share. I really appreciate that. And most of you know every time I get a comment, as long as I see it, because YouTube has been doing something strange with comments lately. But as long as I see it, I always respond to the comments. I at least leave a thumbs up and a heart, or I say something, because I really appreciate how many people share their stories and their feelings. I really appreciate that. I go to a lot of people's, channels, and they have a lot of nonsense in their community section, in their comment section, arguments, even, all kind of nastiness. But when I look at our section, first of all, I don't approve nastiness. That's first and foremost. But we don't get a lot of it. We get a lot of really heartfelt people, and I appreciate that. So thank you all for sharing and for talking, the ones that feel comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable, that's fine too. Sometimes it's not about talking, sometimes it's about reading. Maybe you're in the comment section to hear a message you need to hear, or I'm there getting the message I need to hear. So, if you would like to get a reading done, please email me. All my information is underneath the videos. Every video I do has my email, my Patreon page, the links to my PayPal if you want to send us a channel donation. All that kind of stuff is underneath this video. So let's get started. So this is what Catherine said in the book. And this really, it hit me. She said, many single people are in tremendous amounts of pain because they have nothing to care about, nothing to surrender themselves to. So there's nothing higher than you, no higher power, nothing to love deeply. But there are millions of people in the world who need our love every day. Millions of animals, children, and elderly who are withering and dying for lack of love and belonging. When I saw that, I was like, you know what, Catherine, like you hit that. She hit that. Because when I was younger, I had people in my life that I loved. I've always loved people. That's one thing that has been good. But I always had this feeling like I had to save, parts of myself for this special person that I was going to be with. And me and that special person were going to do all these magnificent things together and go all these places and build all these things. And I was like withholding the real intensity of my love until I met this imaginary person. And I feel like a lot of us do this. We're all like kind of like, well, when I get married or when I meet somebody, then I'll do that. And what she's saying here is that so many of us hold it in, and there are people withering and dying and begging for it. If we're single, like I'm single, if we're single, we don't have to just sit around holding on to our love until a romantic partner presents themselves. Love is meant to be expressed, you know? So I like when she said, have something to care about. And in the book, she was talking about causes, Aquarius and our causes. So she was like, causes, caring about, helping, giving. I think one example was like working at soup kitchens or volunteering, giving your heart, but not giving it in a romantic way, but giving your heart in a different kind of way, but it's still love. Giving love, showing love to people. When you go somewhere and you volunteer at a shelter or a soup kitchen or a children's school, for example, that's a different kind of love, but it's love. And you're expressing it, you're giving something back, and you're also receiving. I worked in schools and did, that type of human resources kind of thing. All my career. Let me think. Yeah, my whole career, except for a couple odd jobs here and there, was doing some type of outreach or some type of education or something like that. And you're giving and receiving so much love. And those people, those elderly people, those abandoned children, those animals at the shelter, whatever you're choosing to give your love to is starving for it. So instead of you sitting in your apartment, clacking away at your laptop, checking to see what's on Pornhub today, take yourself down and volunteer for people who need that energy and need that love. And I love when she said that, because for me, it definitely is my clients. I think that, very early on in my career, my heart belonged to my clients. I think from day one, when I first started teaching, doing little programs, when I first started doing the YMCA, when I first started doing that kind of thing, my clients took my heart seriously, and they still have my heart. And my jobs have changed. Now I'm doing, education, and I'm doing, readings and stuff like that. And so my job has changed from what I was originally doing, but they still have my heart. And that's still where my dedication and my commitment lies. That's still where the bulk of my love goes. So that was the first thing that struck me about this statement. And then she said they have nothing to surrender themselves to. And I think about spirituality, and I think about the role that God has played in that for me. That was like the piece of the puzzle that I needed so badly. And I always knew that, and I was always seeking, and finally I found it. And it was like, yeah, something to surrender to, something to devote myself to, something that was more important than the little penny ante bullshit that I cared about from day to day. Devoting myself to my creator. And this could be any spiritual system. It doesn't matter. It's just one that you feel in your heart. It's something that's bigger than you, than just somebody you're looking to have some romance with. And that's not to say that romance isn't important, because that is a beautiful part of being alive and being human. But there's other ways to express love that you can utilize, that are accessible to you and healthy. These things are healthy to tap into. So when she said that, I was just like, wow. And the last part, she said, there's nothing for them to love deeply. What can you love more deeply than Goddess or God or Buddha or the universe or your ancestors? I can't even talk about Goddess very long without crying. I noticed that. I was doing a poem one day, and I was like, I can't even read this poem without crying, because just that connection and the love, it invokes me to tears in a way that a romantic relationship never did. Romantic relationships, yeah, I like them. I even, fell in love a few times, not much, but I've had some good romantic relationships. But the way that I connect with Goddess is totally different. Totally different. So I was like, that kind of love is a different kind of love, a deeper kind of love, and a love that takes you other places. Because the love of Goddess is what got me everything else. The happiness, the things I've manifested, the trips I've gone on, the money I've got, anything that I've managed to accomplish that has been good ever since let me see, I think I was 29 when I started when I started my initiation process that took me 8 years. Um, Ever since then, everything that has happened good has happened as a offshoot of that relationship. So I said this to you guys to say that if you're one of those single people who finds yourself sad or alone or, you know, begging for belonging or wanting to be in that kind of vibration, consider loving in other ways. Consider giving love in other platonic, healthy ways until your person appears. Because think about it like this: what if your person never appears? What if you never find a soulmate or a life partner? Because it could potentially happen. Do you really want to spend your whole life holding all that love inside of you and then die without ever having expressed it? There's so many platonic ways to express that love. Creating is an expression of love. If you're into like videos, or if you're into music, or if you're into painting, creating is a big expression of love. So my point is, find other healthy, productive ways. And that's what I did. And I didn't realize it until I read this, that other people are doing that to themselves too, holding that love back and being like, okay, well, I'm gonna love my children. Well, you don't have any children. Well, when I get married, then I'm gonna love my children, but you're not even dating. Like, in the meantime, why can't you find something else that means something to you? So it helped me, and I thought it might help some of you. Now we're going to read some positive comments. The first one is from Becoming Inside the Heart's Journey. Nice. Okay. I like that. All right. I think this is a woman. She said, I block on a normal. Me too. I am a blocking ass. I'm like, what? You talking shit? Block. What? You being stupid? Block. I don't have time for negative energy. I just don't have time for it. So if it's not positive energy, if it's not going, if you're not talking about something that I want to hear, even if it's a difficult or a painful conversation, I'm open to that. But I'm not open to negativity, talking shit, arguing. I'm not open to that. And I thought it was funny. The other day, my mother was telling me about my great grandfather, who I never knew. And she actually knew, but he died when she was 15. And she said to me that he did not like fussing. He did not like arguing. He did not like that. And I was like, that's interesting, because I'm exactly the same way. He did not like that energy and refused it in his house, she said. And I was like, that's interesting, because I'm the same way. I hate that energy and I refuse it. I wasn't always like that. Apparently he was always like that. But I came to that as I got older and realized how negative vibrations affect you. So he said, I block on the normal, and if ones have blocked me, I never notice. I agree. It's a pretty accurate list. Thank you for the video. It's always good to see you. Peace. Hey, honey. Thank you so much. If somebody blocks me, I would not notice. I'm sure people have. I'm very sure, I wouldn't notice, and I wouldn't care. I'm the kind of person that I believe that if my presence is detrimental to you, then you have the responsibility to stay away from me. Because your first responsibility is to yourself. So if I or anybody is detrimental to you, harmful to you, irritating to you, negative to you, block them and keep it moving. If you can't work it out or talk through it or do something else and you feel like, go right ahead. I will not be offended if you block me. I won't even notice because I don't look to see who's blocking me and who's still there. I'm just like, whoever is there loves me or wants to at least see what I got to say. And whoever isn't there, they have a right to listen to somebody else or check out somebody else or hang out with somebody else. Pisces Empress. Hey, Pisces Empress. Pisces Empress, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Pisces Empress said, my Aquarius husband cheated on me. Ugh. With a Cancer. Ugh. After 16 years of marriage with me and 5 children. But he was very much in his negative form, low vibration. Somewhere he fell into a deep depression, and his negative Aquarius friend convinced him cheating would make him feel better. I'm very sorry that this happened to you, number one. Number two, cheating will never make you feel better. If your significant other is not treating you good or you're unhappy with that person, cheating on that person is not going to make you feel better. 9 times out of 10, it's going to make you feel guilty or a sense of shame, especially if you're not a cheater. That's really not going to do well. And when they find out that you cheated on them, if they find out, you could do irreparable damage to the relationship. Also, never give your friend the advice to cheat on their partner. Don't tell your friend not to have integrity. Don't do that, because you wouldn't want somebody to cheat on you, and you wouldn't want somebody's friend to tell them to cheat on you. Think about yourself. Put yourself in that position. That is awful. I would never encourage a person to cheat. If they were unhappy, I would encourage them to leave. I would encourage them to seek a counselor, because usually when people have problems, the first thing I say is go to therapy. Therapy is the most underutilized, and I know some people don't have access, but if you have access, therapy is one of the most underutilized methods of healing. So I always recommend therapy. If they can't do therapy, I tell them to get self-help books, because that's basically therapy in a book. And if they can't do that, I tell them, use spirituality, which has therapeutic aspects to it as well. So I'm just like, tell your friend something productive. If this friend was in a deep depression, why would you tell him to cheat? Why wouldn't you tell him to go see somebody? This is the dumb shit I'm talking about. Like, who does that, all right, guys. You guys come back soon, because I got a lot more to say. See you later.